All right. So anyway, here we are with all of our friends for our happy hour edition of a hangout. Let's cheers, friends. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So let's just start going around the room, and I'm getting feedback from someone.
I think it's on yours, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And so anyway, what else is going on in your life these days? Tony, what's happening with you guys there in Tampa?
You know, we're on Zoom a lot, and we weren't prepared for that. So I've kind of done this as a guest, but never a host. So I've been figuring out how to do all this on Zoom. It's been pretty interesting the past 2 days. And today, as an example, we're all on Zoom for a 9 o'clock, and we started. I showed a video that I felt was pretty funny to start the day, and then we went around and talked about wins from yesterday, and then what we wanted to cover today, and then we went over a few details. I find myself getting like stuff done that I've had on my list for the last 6 months. Yeah. That's really exciting for me because it's daunting to be frustrated that you can't get to it, and I'm making the time to do it here at because I can get probably more done at my home office than I can in my other office, just because.
Is everybody else feeling that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Tim's like, no, yeah. Tim's like, I got 2 twins, 3 kids. No.
Except for Tim.
4 kids at home, though, simultaneously. Stuff.
Oh, and I'm homeschooling on the side, which is pretty wild. And my wife and I are kind of alternating on that. My kids say that I went in earlier and I said, hey, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're on free time, Dad. We're on free time. Like, back off. Like, all right. So that's what's happening.
I'm doing PE for my kids.
There you go.
Yeah. It's like the subject.
Yeah.
How about you, Jenny? What do you got going on?
Me? I couldn't hear.
Yeah.
Me?
How about you?
Oh, well, I've enjoyed, I made a little list. I've just enjoyed the things that, like Tony said, I'm able to get more stuff done because there's more focus time. I mean, if you think about the time that I was spending driving my daughter to school in the morning, instead we're hopping right into it, right? So we're saving time there. We're more efficient in our team meetings and our team one-on-ones and our lead generation, all done through Zoom because it's on and we're time blocked for it. I'm also finding that I'm loving that we're getting super efficient in all these things, and can some of these things that we're experiencing now carry on later? Especially like Jess has been rocking out the virtual listing appointments and running out and doing tours, etc. I mean, guys, can this be the way of our future? Many agents have done that in the past, right? So maybe we get to fold it in. And how much time do you save not driving an hour of drive time to a listing and back when you don't even know if you want to work with them yet or not? So that's what I'm grateful for, is the afternoon walks or 5 o'clock walks with the family around the block and, getting out. And I'm telling you, the dogs are the winners of all this. They're just getting so loved and appreciated, don't you think?
For sure.
I don't have one.
Well, except for Josh, who's sad. Well, anything else? Anything? Timmy? What's that? Tim?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I thought you said something. Were you going to share what's going on with you guys?
Oh, I can. Of course I can. A lot of same as you guys.
Nice.
Just, I am not.
Back for this one.
I am not as efficient at home. I know. I've had a bourbon or 2. I'm not as efficient at home as I am in the office. So I'm learning patience and grace with the babies. But it's nice. I think that the world will look different for myself, my team, and real estate in general after this is over, no doubt. Getting local. I've met more of my neighbors in the past week than I have since we've lived here.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? And we talk about hyper local. I don't think you get any more hyper-local than this. I mean,
Have
you
been
know,
playing
everyone's
basketball with your
outside.
neighbors?
What's that?
You been playing basketball with your neighbors? Like
Yeah,
playing ball, just pig.
just horse. Can't share the ball.
Keep your own basketball.
Yeah. Don't
That's
sweat on
funny.
me, bro. No, so it's been, it's been good. There's definitely some adjusting, but there's things that are really nice. I mean, talking to the neighbors, just hanging out, seeing kids walking around. I mean, it's an interesting time.
Yeah. Josh, how's your life?
Good. I've been at the office all day. We did a bold 50 today. Kind of the same as you guys. I think this whole thing is gonna force technology on people, and I think that it's ultimately gonna make it better. We've been doing, and I know we've probably beat, like we were talking earlier, we kind of beat this dead horse, but it's made us we've been talking about doing these daily hangouts forever. 15, 20-minute check-ins with the team. And it's just good to start the morning every day at 8 o'clock and see everybody and see what they're grateful for. What are you working on? What are you struggling with? What do you need? And it's just kind of a quick round robin of everybody doing a little bit of talking. So it's that, and it's really kind of, I've been trying to do lots of buying of gift cards with our clients that are business owners, and gonna later this week do some little giveaways and contests, and just trying to support them and seeing how we can connect. A lot of the stuff you're doing on videos, but we've got yoga studios that aren't open right now, but they're doing online
Yeah.
classes, and so we're doing interviews with them and then doing some kind of giveaway, and we're trying to do it with different industries and different clients and business owners. So
I want to just insert this because all of us were already very proactive and in our business and already had a good momentum going into this. So I would guess that most of us have a good pending pipeline, hopefully, that we've been able to keep together, and we're going to be okay for the next month or so. So what about those agents that maybe didn't have that going into this interesting new time? What suggestions would you give those that could be watching that are hanging on that one or two deals that really matter to them and to their clients?
Well, everybody can probably answer this in some capacity. I think for me, I think everybody should this business just comes back to the basics. That's all it comes back to. And I think stop trying to do scripts and ultimately just call and be a human being, and just own the fact that you maybe haven't stayed in great touch with your past clients, and just call and say, how are you? I hope you're staying safe. Do you need anything? Not even real estate related. Just, do you need anything in life? For the people that have lost their jobs or been cut back on jobs, or, for all of us, I think we're all at home. We're being teachers. My kids go to private school. I'm paying money for my kids to go to private school, and they're at home, and we're being teachers right now. And so, it's we got to be teachers. And I think there's a lot of people that can't really stay at home with their kids, but they have to, and just got to figure it out. I don't know.
I think when I go back to what your question, Jenny, when I go back to, I literally dug through all my notes from years back, and I go back to, I told Josh, I was like, I'm going to find my notes from 2009 and 2010. And, it's interesting because I'm in a different phase of my life and career. But one of the things I wrote down, and I thought it was so much, is because you're doubling the effort. Just there was a note that said, because I'm doubling the effort doesn't mean I get double the results.
Yeah.
And I really
only get half right now.
And I really go back to those days where I was in the office at 5:36 in the morning, and I'd be up there at night working on a website or trying to figure out how to
That when you didn't
get
have
to where the puck was going to be, how to find the motivated and do those things. And so, those days were long, man. It was a grind. It was, I had no choice but to figure it out. And there was a lot of grit, and there was a lot of tough days and long nights and all in between. But, I think we are limited here but you just have to dig in a little bit and try to figure it out, because it is there. We have to put on our thinking caps a little bit, let go of what was to be for this year, and figure out where we're going.
You know, the crazy thing that I just want to point out is that we're so blessed and that we have professions that no one can fire us. Like, we are in total control of our destiny right now over the next months. And how we show up is going to be how we get paid, or how we give back, or how we care and love on people. And I just think that we're so fortunate. And that is why I do feel like it is our duty, and I know all of us are doing it, to really give wherever we can. And maybe it's not money, maybe it's not buying things, because we need to be watching our numbers too. And it's just whatever resources we have to promote and share our business owners that are in such tough times. So I just wanted to, you know, I am grateful.
You're in control of certain things. I mean, there's definitely verifiable things that you're in control of. So,
yeah.
I mean, like, you can pick up the phone and make a certain amount of calls and contacts. You can get price reductions. You can get the listing appointments. You can get, I mean, since Friday, I've listed 9 properties. And it's not like, I'm just saying, like, there's people that definitely want to sit on the sidelines, and that's fine. And you've got to nurture those and keep them in your pipeline and be a resource for them and add value. But there's also the people that are like, I want to go ahead and do it.
Yes.
And try it for 2 weeks. And if we can bring it back from active to coming soon status or something like that. But there's plenty of business. I mean, if you for everybody, or like the 3 people that are listening, whoever it is, like, you know, there is definitely, you can go onto your MLS every single day and see that there are like hundreds of properties being listed, lots of properties pending, lots of people that are doing price reductions. Like, all those things they can all be, they're all in our control, I guess.
Yeah. And every morning on our team, Google Hangouts, Nate, I see he's watching. Hey, Nate. He took it on himself to just be that data gatherer. So on all of our morning Hangouts, he shares all the new listings, all the new pendings. And we're just going to always be watching that, because it, you know, like, this is not funny and kind of funny. Like, over the last 10 days, there were 500 something new listings in our area. And I said, and team, how come we have 0? Like, hold on. There's still people taking listings. There's still sellers selling. And so
Nate,
sometimes,
sorry.
What's that?
I said, Nate, get to work.
Yeah, right. There you go. And it's just that's the reality, and numbers don't lie. So we have to still be that local economist of choice. Jess, are you feeling okay? Are you okay?
I am answering somebody on the question and answer.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Jess
like
is
it.
ready to just get back to giving hugs and getting hugs and all that stuff.
It's
right?
hard to not hug, for sure.
So
Sorry.
Jess answered this, but we'll throw this out there. I have Brandon asked this. I have buyers whom were pre-approved yesterday. I've done virtual showings and such for them today. How would you handle them wanting to go do a traditional showing? I'm kind of nervous because I don't know how the sellers would respond to people in their house with the virus going on, and they were reluctant to let me in alone to do the virtual tour. And yeah, absolutely. Jess, what do you got?
So I'm in Connecticut, and so Connecticut is one of the states, California, Illinois, and Connecticut shut down. And luckily, as of Sunday night, we are essential, which is great. However, ask first if they have a 360 digital tour you can share. Second, ask if that seller is willing to do a FaceTime tour with you where you can screen record it. And then you can share it back with the buyer. Third, ask if that seller can sanitize doorknobs, leave doors open, leave windows open, you wear booties on, you wear an N95 mask, and you hand sanitize. Those are all options for you, all things that I've done, all things that my team is doing. And if anybody is sick, you just don't show it. Sometimes the answer is no, because that virus spreads. So some people think it's a joke, and it's not. In Connecticut, it spread really quickly. And, you know I'm a super positive person, but people will think sometimes that I might not be, but I'm very pragmatic and I see things ahead of time more than some. So we were preparing for this way beforehand. We started keeping our people at home and working from home about a week and a half beforehand. But I got sick with the flu that didn't test for the flu early in January, and then had pneumonia for 5 weeks.
Do you think you had it?
Hey,
Yes.
hey Jess, I read an article today, and it was based out of Connecticut. Someone's 40th birthday. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that was a good example, and it basically just showed that all these people traveled in for this party. One person they think had it, maybe two at the party, and then it's just literally spread across the nation and the world from this one party, and it's all tracking back to that. It's pretty wild.
You can't even, the sad part is you can't even tell from it. I mean, like, you guys don't even remember. I didn't hang out with anybody at family reunion. I'd run things with everybody. I couldn't breathe. Like, Tim would text me and call me, and he's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "No, I can't breathe." Like, it was horrible. It was like fire in my lungs. The coughing was terrible. And then I had 2 other team members who got sick, and I'm compromised. I have diabetes. I have a couple other things and asthma. So it was awful.
Jeez.
And so that's why I took this so seriously. And as soon as I heard Disney close, I know I'm a loser and I love Disney. But as soon as I was like, they're willing to lose billions of dollars, our team is going home. Like, it was just a non-negotiable. And this is how we're going to make a standard going forward. So I figure if big companies like that could do it, clearly we can make a protocol around it and have a backup plan. So that was my plan. And I hate not hugging people. I have to walk up to them with my arms like this because it's so not comfortable for me to not come and hug somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I think a good topic would be, you know, in my opinion, what positive stuff's been happening, right? Because, I mean, like Josh, repeat what you said, man. Like, that was pretty powerful. So since Friday, you've listed how many properties total?
We've put 9 on the market since Friday, and we've got another 6 or 7 that are going on the market, and like 4 of those are mine and 2 or 3 are other agents on the team. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know that, I mean, those are all like relationships that I have, and I'm not saying that they came from me just saying, "Hey, how are you?" Just checking in. I mean, those were, but several of those were literally on Wednesday afternoon. One of my past clients was like, "Hey, I've got these 5 properties. Can you run comps, and can we put them on the market?" Well, those 5 properties are already under contract as of yesterday.
What caused that at the time, Josh? He just wanted to unload them due to the virus, or just completely
Yeah,
random?
I mean, he owns several properties, and his deal was like, those are like the lesser of all of his properties, and he wants to have cash on hand from a comfort level. And this is a guy that sold his company about 2 years ago for a little bit over $50 million. And so he's not like hurting for cash by any means, but he wanted to get rid of them because he feels like, yeah, right. Now's a really great time to, sell these, get what he deems is at least market value or top dollar for them. And, they're all 4 of them are being bought in cash. And anyway, so he thinks that there's going to be a big correction, not in the next 3 months, but he thinks, in the fourth quarter of 2020 or first quarter of 2021, he thinks there's going to be a huge opportunity, and he just wants to have more cash on hand. He's not necessarily scared of the short term because he's in a situation where he has a lot of net worth and assets. But another guy called me 3 or 4 days ago via email. I guess it was an email, and then I talked to him today, and his is another development opportunity. And so we're going to probably be listing that by Wednesday or Thursday.
And all that, I think the point of that whole story, though, is that all of that was because you've always been doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And I will say, like, I'm not like tooting my own horn, but we do stay in really good touch with our past clients. And so it's one of those things that it's always just been check-ins.
Well, isn't that what makes you shift proof?
Yeah. And it's never been like scripts, it's like just, mine has always been the check-in. I've been the check-in guy. Like, hey, how's it going? Hey, I was showing properties on Sunday. I was in your neighborhood. It's Monday morning. I just thought about you, and I just wanted to check in. How's it going?
So how do you remember? Are you fibbing on that? Or did you really drive by? Because I have that thought, and then I forget about it.
Well, I do have like kind of a photographic memory. It's really bizarre.
Okay.
I mean, in a group text, the team was like, hey, this property's coming on the market. It was a property I listed for a builder, and it was like 1614 Chase Street. I was like, hey, I think I sold that actually like 4.5 years ago. And he looked it up and was like, you were the listing agent exactly 4.5 years ago. How do you remember that? I'm like,
Yeah.
I just remember addresses. Like, that's just one of those deals that, I don't know.
I think that's a good skill for a real estate agent.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, it's not, it's just, I don't know.
Well, that's what Jess says. I mean, that was your script. It was like, I know every house in that neighborhood. I'm the market expert, right?
I always say if
with that, when you're doing it, you can, I had an appraisal, we still have a couple appraisal issues sometimes because values actually have gone up, where a couple months ago they were going down. So they went up now, which is great. And we had an appraisal issue, and the guy's like, you have to use this comp. It's an identical comp. I said it would be, except for the fact that I was a listing agent on it 4 years ago. There's flood insurance on this one, and it doesn't have a finished basement. You deducting value on mine with the finished basement, without flood, and with our upgrades with central air and the finished kitchen, I think you need to give me $15,000 more.
boom,
Yeah.
know your stuff.
I want Jess on my side.
Hey, if there was a Jeopardy category for my county and street names, that would be my best category ever. I always tell my sellers that, just because, when you've been in the business for a long time, you do know a lot of that stuff. Who else has awesome stuff to share? I'm taking Jenny's job tonight, by the way.
I'm happy. I'm
Cool.
fine.
I want her to talk. How about that? I want her to not just ask questions. I want to hear. I want to hear the good stuff.
I got something that's a little off cuff
Yeah.
What do you got?
that I heard today. So you know how they're offering SBA loans?
Yeah.
Low interest SBA loans. So I'm thinking if I were a single agent or a small team with some expenses and I was fearful about what's to come, I would take advantage of that SBA loan if they're offering, say, 3.75% interest.
Yeah.
But I've heard twice today.
They're not offering it 3.75. They're offering it at like 10.5%.
Oh, well, here's no.
Zero, isn't it zero?
No, there's a bunch at zero.
There's
Everything's zero. It's all free.
Anyway, it's a low interest loan, right? But so I heard twice today through different sources that were something to the fact of if you took that loan and you used the money to pay your lease and your salaries, that there was a high probability that debt would be likely forgiven. And then I started to think, I was like, I don't need that money. But in the event that things didn't perk up in a few weeks and it was a few months and that money was there and I used it for those things, let's say that it was forgiven. It's like jumping on an insurance policy before you. I mean, I think it would be a good move, a strategy play for a lot of people to take advantage of that.
Let's say I used that and bought some Disney stock. And
Yeah, we already texted about this, Jess. No, but just from the point of like, hey, we've got to figure out a way. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of people that are staring down the barrel of a lot. They have a lot high, things that they're in charge of paying. And I mean, if that can be the one thing that helps keep somebody afloat, I think that's a value.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a thought.
Well, I've noticed too, like buyers in my market they're gangbusters to get under contract because interest rates actually went down and they went up, and like the uncertainty, and they just need a place to go and live. So our fallout rate is very minimal on both sides, and I didn't know what to expect this week specifically. And so far it's been very much both agents, our team and whoever the other agent is. Hey, let's get the deal done. Let's figure out if we can move it up. And, the buyers want to close just as much as the sellers. And so it's really created a lot of urgency with the coronavirus specifically, more than a negative impact. We've had maybe one or two that have, one called us back yesterday, and we used Gary's script on that he talked about.
What changed?
What if it changed, and it worked really well, and the person decided to go. They called to basically say, we're not going to list anymore. And then Craig on our team actually talked them through it, and they decided to do it. So, it's pretty interesting. I think I get really settled in. I'm like in my chair right now today, and I'm just like starting to get the groove of like, the shift. And it almost gets me a little excited because this is where I grew my business, right? Like I'm losing out to agents that I shouldn't be losing out to because they're not calling me. And I see a gigantic opportunity for market share right now. And for those agents out there that don't have a big team starting out, I grew my entire business, basically during a downshift. Yeah. So roll up the sleeves, baby. It's easy to do. Just show up to work every day. It's not as hard as
right? I mean,
all of us.
Yeah.
So I get excited about it.
Jenny's been in the business since like 1987, but we've all been through, she's been through like 3 shifts. We've been
me and Gary, we go way back.
37 years ago when I got into the, just kidding.
Okay, so just so the crowd knows, like Jenny looks maybe one of the youngest. I'll give her that, but yet she is older than all of us. So that's why Josh has to say that.
I want to touch on something. I saw that Brittany is watching. I don't know if she's still on. And, this is what's so cool about this. We have never been more connected as a team. I'm sure you guys are feeling that too. We're checking in more. We're really getting purposeful about adding notes and connecting. And today on our chat, she mentioned that some of her not getting appointments, listing appointments that she's losing out to happen to be that other agents, weaker agents, are drastically cutting their commission to get the listing. I mean, not even just like a little bit, a lot. And so what would you guys say to agents who are watching, who are living that? I mean, is this a time that we adjust our standards, even though we still give amazing value, because we do, and we believe in our value proposition, and other agents are cutting so much? What do you say to that?
No.
Hell no.
Here's why. People don't understand what it's like to carry expenses through a shift if you haven't been through one. Mm-hmm. And you can lose your butt carrying listings, trying to overservice them. We don't know where the market's going yet. What we can't do is take a listing and not be able to afford to service it. So if you have a listing for 6 months, 9 months, a year, and the demand starts to be, hey, we want video, we want this, we want open house, and you're doing a reduced commission, and
the average agent doesn't know they're losing money either.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
They're okay because they have nothing else going on.
There's a difference in cash flow.
The statistic alone of 65% of listings sell the first time means that there's a 35% chance that you won't take that listing will not sell in that with the first agent or the first 6 months, right? Mm-hmm. So 35% chance that you're not going to get paid, yet here we are exposing ourselves to you can't service that client at a high level with a reduced commission. Just can't happen.
Well, that was actually my response. When she sent me a text that they chose another agent because of that reason, I said, okay, that's great. And just keep an eye on them and have a reminder so when they don't sell that you're ready and you're going to reach out. So I just thank you for sharing that. She's grateful that we answered that for her.
My team doesn't want to ever hear this, but basically you got to get better. Like bottom line, if you're not convincing enough of why there's a difference, then you got to know your scripts better. You got to approach it differently. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same conversation with every person. It's going to be, depending on the person, but you just got to get better, and you got to add more value to your marketing plan if you're discounting, bottom line, in my opinion. Sorry, Jess.
It's great to say all that. And in the end, we want to trim our expenses just like other people want to trim their expenses.
Yeah.
And when they start losing their jobs, when they have spouses, when they have significant others start getting sick, it's really great to say that. And yet we have to think of the human connection too, because their dollars and cents matter. So you can keep saying everything you want and you can act like you care all day long. But when you don't give them something, they don't feel like you care. So I'll give you a good example. I had somebody I competed against the other top 2 agents in town, and we were the highest commission. We were 6%. And they said that they would do lower because they were competing. And I said, okay, that's great. And I said, so I understand. And she was sick and we were referred. I said, so you obviously want to net the most amount of money, like we all would say to them. And I said, you can see we offer a lot more in the way of services from staging and all sorts of other stuff, right? And she said, yeah. I said, so why don't I make this commitment to you? If I sell your home within 30 days, we get 6%. If I sell your home in 30 to 60 days, we'll take 5.5. If I sell your home over 60 days, we'll take 5%. He said, okay. And I sold it in 19.
So Jess, that's a great point. I see Brittany asked, there she goes. Okay, she's okay with that answer. She was asking how you guys felt about tiered service levels. So that's kind of a version of doing that right there, right?
No,
I mean,
I think it moves me and I go back to them and I say, so what does that do for you? Because you're like, well, I don't want to pay 6%, right? But you want to be in Boston within 2 months. So it makes me work even harder to get your home sold, doesn't it? And I want to keep the most money in your pocket, just like you want to keep the most money in yours. And I'm going to do that by selling it faster, aren't I?
Mm-hmm.
I think, Jenny, Gary's been talking about tiered service forever and tiered commissions, but I think it depends on what that looks like for people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it makes a big difference on what are you going to change between 5%, 6%, 7%, or 6, 7, 8, whatever it is. What are you doing?
I remember Gene Rivers saying one time that he takes 30-day, they would take 30-day listings. And the reason for that was he wants to know, like, if you're not going to adjust your price when it's needed and you're not going to be a partner in this, then I don't want to work with you anyway. And it's costing me money to stay in business with you.
So we've done some of those, but we have a cancellation guarantee in all of our listing packets. And
we do too.
yeah, we just say, look, we typically do 6-month contracts. If you want to do a 30-day, that's totally fine. Like, we're confident enough in what we do, and if we're pricing it correctly and we're working the relationship together and we're setting expectations, they're either going to be satisfied with what we do in the first 30 days and don't necessarily reduce the commission, or we're going to get a pre-done price reduction before all of that. So
yeah, ours is called the Love Us or Leave Us guarantee. And every time I give it to people, I go, hey, you can use this in 16 years. It's been used twice and I used it once. So you let me know it works both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, I think too, people just need to know what your costs are. And obviously I think everyone on the panel here, everyone's in the volume business at this point, but it depends, right? Like, if you're going to make big adjustments, you better be very strategic how you're going to do that over time, because I know my costs going in and I know my staff and I know the differences. And then I always turn it into a net conversation. It's not about a cost, it's about the net, right? So, that's the only thing. I don't disagree with you, Jess. I just think that you've got to really, in my opinion, understand the agent on their own business, and certain people, you may need to make some adjustments in order to get it done. We talked on a deal today that the seller, we're going to make an adjustment to make it happen right now, because it has been very problematic. It's a long story, but
Nightcap pee.
Like what?
Yeah.
Nightcap pee.
Yeah, it's a cat urine type story. So actually it's a duplex, but anyway, we got a way to figure it out, and we're going to make it happen for the client. But at the same time, I think we got to know our value going in and make sure you know your costs, more importantly.
Well,
but you can
watch Grant Cardone. I mean, I think he's an ass, but either way, his big point is something of nothing is still worth it. So if you're going to get something from it, Gary tells us every listing we take, there should be 2 buyers that come from it, right? So are you willing to say no to 2 buyers in the absence of a small portion of your commission? Right now we're going into tougher times. So I'd encourage you to think a little bit differently.
I think everything's open to conversation.
open to a conversation. And Gary's always said, like, I'll do whatever it takes to get a listing in my neighborhood, even if it's doing it for free. Yep. With that being said, there's a really fine line of what you're saying for people listening. Like,
of course.
I mean, there's just a really fine line on the what you'll do it for, and then they go tell 17 of their friends.
Well,
it will happen.
I'm not saying to do it for free. I'm saying if you between 5 and 6%, like.
Hey, Jess, can I flip the script on you?
Yeah.
So I've done the inverse of what you stated. So if I sell it fast, I would make, like, the longer you have it, the more it costs me, right? So if I sell it within 30 days, we'll do 5.5%. We go over 30 days, we're going to need 6% because I'm going to need that marketing dollars to cover the cost of all the
Usually
activity. So you can flip it.
Usually what I hear is
What?
like, this is what I usually hear sellers say to me is, if you sell it in like 2 weeks, then you should only get like 1% instead of. It's like, if you have to keep it for 120 days, then you'll get a full commission. It's like, well, how does that, I mean,
I don't want you in the full, I don't want you that long.
Yeah, I mean, I've only done a sliding scale commission probably 5 times, but the times that I have done it, I've made it to where it was less if I sold it quick. But I mean, you can get creative. Everybody's market's a little bit different. You know, my average sales price is not what Josh's is. I mean, you know, on a $3 million listing, okay, that's probably a different conversation than a $225,000 average sale price.
actually not. Still
And Jenny's $155,000 sale price.
Well,
Hey,
I'll
Tim,
mention some
still
that
get,
we do.
still get 3%, Tim. 3% on 3 million.
So
All right.
something we do to play around, which I'd recommend
Do it,
people
Matt.
do in a shifting market, would be, you know, if you do a 6% listing, not a 5, a 6. Thank you, 6. Then you adjust it. You know, you add more to the buyer. Like, so at 30 days, you might want to play with that, where you go 3.25 and you take 2.75. We do that all the time on our listings if we need to, just to move it. And I can tell you that works, guys. That works. Agents offering more. We do it all the time, because at the end of the day, we need to move the listing. And I start feeling bad around 30 days, to be honest. If it's a luxury listing, obviously, you know, it's going to take more time. But anyway, that's another little trick.
I love it. I love it. I know that we need to get to our families and we need to get to dinner and all the things that we need to do. It's been so fun chatting with you guys. I like Tony taking over as host. I will totally deem him as hostess with the mostest.
All right. So can everybody leave with one, including yourself, Jetty, one parting like piece of wisdom for everybody? We're in this together. Like one parting quick piece of wisdom.
Start, Tim.
No, I asked the question. I'm last.
He's the moderator.
What a jerk.
Jess.
Yes.
I know Josh. He's talked the most. He gets to go.
Josh.
Okay, I mean, mine is always this. It's like not necessarily in this market, but like just get back to the basics. It's the same thing I always say. It's really boring. Just get back to the basics. Like call your people, love on them, build the database, know your scripts, time block, all that good stuff.
You can't quote the entire MREA, Josh.
Okay,
Jeez.
that's what I do in my business. That's how I grew it.
I mean, mine would
with bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, too many bourbons. He needs to go.
Jetty, go ahead. What'd you say?
Mine would be still building a powerful calendar and a schedule and following it every day. So even though we're at home with family members in our space, we still need to get up and show up and put on our work clothes and just really still be a time block person. I mean, I'm breaking for lunch. I'm getting out of the space. I'm eating some lunch, like going on a walk. I mean, all the things, right? So you have to still, I know it can be so easy to just like dive into the computer and technology. So
I've got my morning pajamas, my night pajamas. I think I've been growing into my bed. I need to get up and have water and go to sleep at normal times and stop working. That's what I need to do.
Okay, so we're gonna hold you to that, Jess. We're gonna text you and say, "Are you out of your jammies?"
Dojic has been harassing me. I'm ignoring some of his texts for working out. I have to get back to that. So yeah. My advice is, again, because I need to follow my own advice, is to make sure that you're building in time for sleep, water, and working out, because those are 3 things I've been horrible with this week because I have run myself ragged. Yeah. Doing stuff because we thought we weren't going to be able to work. So if your state is going to be one of the ones that closes down, I'd also encourage you all now either to pay your photographer or get your camera and do those 360 tours so that you have them as a backup for people to show those houses. Just my 2 cents. So that's my tip.
I like it. It's
Pour
smart.
more bourbon. Tim, did you just pour more bourbon?
I did. You saw that.
Not
I
me.
saw that.
Yeah, actually, that was on the screen. Yes, it was. Somebody- Jeez.
Mine
Go
is
ahead, Tim.
like we can't be frozen by fear. We have to let go of this, negative present, negative future, and kind of just redirect ourselves and see where we're going. Any plans you had are out the window, and we deal with what we got. And it's great.
Can't wait to text with you later, Tim.
I'm gonna say this, like, hardworking agents will take market share during the shift.
We sure
Yeah.
will.
It's gonna happen. So my question would be, is that you? And then to go off of that, I'm gonna get specific on something that I'm working on and give you all a little secret because I think it'll be good going forward.
Let me get my notes.
Airbnb. Okay, Airbnbs.
Yeah.
If you have multiple Airbnbs, people are gonna be hit really, really hard right now. And I'm guessing they may want to sell, and they got the Airbnbs because they put 20% down minimum.
They got money.
They might have 5 or 6, 7, 10 of them. So if you want to take massive market share, figure out who the Airbnbs are in your area
Real
and
quick, Tony.
contact the owners.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. It's happening.
Yes.
I mean, I have a lender friend that had 27 cancellations last week, and he doesn't own anywhere near 27 properties.
Tony,
27
when I have to fly to Florida, I now have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. So if you could find me that Airbnb right on St. Pete Beach, that would be ideal.
You got it. I
Perfect.
got you covered.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate
All right,
you
guys.
guys. It's been so much fun. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and look forward to actually hugging you for real sometime soon as well.
Hey, I think
guys.
Brandon had one more question, so I
Oh.
don't know if someone can jump on that, but
Oh,
This time is good for me to focus exclusively on real estate since I am also a high school teacher and coach. Thanks for your service. As an independent agent, I am somehow attracting buyers only. I've only listed one house and I put it under contract in 20 days. My question is, what costs should I really expect besides photos, drone photos, and marketing the house? This may be a good question for Tim, since I am also a Baton Rouge area agent. And then also Susan Emery says, thank you for letting us listen in. I enjoyed hearing your tactics and wisdom.
thanks, Susan.
I think local as well. I'll answer Brandon. I'll answer that one by text, so we don't drag this one on too long. Susan, thank you for being here. Yeah, I'll tackle this one by text.
awesome.
Okay, cool.
Thank you guys for joining us. If you happen to watch along, I hope you had some fun. I know we did, and I will see you guys later.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.